is July, which means that it is officially time to create yet another TBR. And this one's TBR is a very interesting one because I'm not going to be the one choosing the books this time. Instead, my fate is going to be in the cards. For the month of July, there is a Tarot Readathon going on that is hosted by Daijah and Noelle, whose channels I will link below alongside their announcements videos, because they go into a lot more detail about the rules, as well as have a link to the Discord that has the prompts attached to each of the cards. But in short, it is a teams-based competitive readathon based on tarot cards, where there are 4 different teams based on the different tarot suits, and also each book is based on a prompt based on a tarot card that you pull. For my tarot deck, I'm going to be using the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani. These are some really, really gorgeous tarot cards that are actually based on different mythological stories, so each one has a different mythological story on them. I'm going to be joining the Wands team because I am an Aries and this is the fire sort of suit, and I've also recently been addicted to the game Marvel Rivals, and the new character coming out is Phoenix, or Jean Grey, who has fire powers, so I'm just like in a fire sign mood. And there's also some additional prompts that are like lifestyle based as well, seem interesting to me, so I'm going to insert the graphic here so that you can look at that. And also, once again, please check out the Discord if you're interested. And without further ado, let's just get into picking the cards. So I'm going to choose 10 cards for 10 books. However, I have been in a reading slump for the past like 4 months, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get to every single one of these books, but I do like having more books to be able to choose from, just because I'm a mood reader. And I don't know if there's like an official way that you should be pulling tarot cards. I'm just going to like sort of go like this and like pick one randomly. So the first card is the High Priestess, and the prompt for this one is read a book with a mystery element. Okay, and for our second one, King of Cups, read a book with a wise character. 3 of Coins, which is read a book with an alliance or that follows a group of characters. Fourth one is Page of Coins, buy or borrow a book off your wish list and read it. So 7 of Cups, which is pick multiple books and blindly pick one for a pile. Judgment, read a book that you have DNF'd or finish a book that you've been currently reading for a long time. That is an interesting one. I do have some that I'm currently reading, so. The Magician, which is read a story with magical elements, so that's super easy. 2 of Coins, this is read a book where the characters face a big decision. The World, read a book that you have seen all over either Bookstagram, Booktube, or BookTok. And then our last one, let's make this one a good one. Where's my hand calling me? Queen of Swords, read a book with a queendom or matriarchy. These are 10 cards, so I'm going to pick books based on them. I'm also going to let you know what the myths that inspired these cards are as well. So our first one was the High Priestess. This one is Scheherazade from the Arabian Nights, or 101 Nights. So she is like a storyteller. The second one was the King of Cups, and this is The Boy and the Dragon Pearl, a Chinese-based legend, and it's a story about a powerful dragon sort of protecting their pearl. The next one was the 3 of Coins, or the 3 of Pentacles, inspired by a Nepalese legend from Tamang mythology about Bankari and Bankarini, I believe are how they're pronounced, who are shamans. The next one is the Page of Coins, and this is Biva Nere, which is Swedish deity from Sami mythology, goddess of spring, and sort of symbolizes like a fresh start. The next one is Seven of Cups, and this is Aladdin from the Arab folktale, and is also the inspiration obviously for the Disney Aladdin movie as well. Judgment, which is inspired by Sun Wukong, which is the Monkey King from Chinese mythology. The Magician, which is inspired by the fairy godmother, and it says in this one that it is inspired by France. The next one is the Two of Coins, Ripsinset, which is from Haida mythology from the Pacific Northwest. I believe this is a story about some aspect of like dual identities and dual worlds. You can kind of see that she has like these two children who are like half bear, half human. Then the World, which is Hinamoa and Tunakai, which is from New Zealand and is a Maori legend. So this is sort of like a happily ever after between these two lovers. And then lastly is the Queen of Swords, which is Turandot from China, and is actually listed as it being an Arab folktale. So I believe there's some joint influence. The first prompt that we pulled was the High Priestess, which was a book that has a mystery element. And I have decided to go with One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, which is actually a book that has a tarot-based magic system, as there are these cards that have different powers, and I believe our two main characters are having to go on this quest to find these different cards in order to save a town that has come under mysterious dark magic. There's definitely some mystery elements there of trying to figure out like what this dark magic aspect is. The next prompt was for the King of Cups, which was to find one that has a wise character. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because I think it's hard to sort of know what the characters are going to be like going into a book unless if you have some prior knowledge about it. For now, I'm going with The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I feel like Tolkien's books in general just always have a lot of wise characters. This book is particularly inspired by Finnish folklore and mythology, so not inspired by this card at all. I still think it could count towards the prompt of having a wise character because this is sort of like the epic history of the elves, and I think the elves in general in fantasy and specifically within Tolkien are known as being like really wise people, even though I have read this book before and a lot of them make stupid choices. And I've also just been thinking about picking it up again because I've been itching for that more classic fantasy, which this one is like the pinnacle of because it's Tolkien. Another one, however, that I kind of want to stretch to fit this prompt because it fits the card, the King of Cups, so well, is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. I don't want to give like too many spoilers, but having read her other books that precede this one, there is a setup about one of the characters that really is reminiscent of the illustration on this card. The card just really reminds me of this book. Maybe it might be able to stretch, but from what I've read of her books before, there's not a lot of wise characters, but I still want to maybe potentially pick this one up this month. The next one was the Three of Coins, and this one was an alliance or group, so the book is book. And I decided to go with Four Ruined Realms by Mai Corlin. So this is the second book in the Five Broken Blade series. The third book, which is called Three Shattered Souls, I believe, is coming out later this month. Sorry, the lighting is like really reflective because of this book right now. So I really enjoyed the first one. We're following a group of mercenaries and cutthroats who are sort of forced to go on this quest to assassinate the king. This is inspired by Korean folklore and legend, so I'm really interested in continuing with this series, especially because the third one is also coming out, and I really enjoyed these characters and would like to be back with them, so I felt like that really fit for the group aspect because the book is all about following this one group. The next prompt for the Page of Coins, I think I initially had read this one wrong and read the prompt for the Ace of Coins, but this prompt is basically to read the shortest book on your TBR. I have two books, and the reason why I have two books for this one of them is a part of a series that I'm not 100% sure about the order in which you have to read them because it's sort of like a spin-off. The book is Six Scorched Roses by by Carissa Broadbent. So this is part of the Serpent and the Wings of Night series. So I have actually only read the first book, which is called Serpent and the Wings of Night. And so I don't know if you have to have read the second one to read this one. So I'm not 100% sure if I can read this one before reading that one, because then it wouldn't be the shortest book on my TBR, because it would necessitate that I have to read a 500-page book to get to it. So other option is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. This one is, I think, really well liked and hyped up, and I've been interested in reading it for a long time. It's set in this like mysterious house, so we're following like a main character who's trying to figure out how they got in this weird place. However, I did recently read a short book, which was This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I didn't like that one, so I'm a bit scared off of these like more speculative short novella stories, because I don't have a good track record with them. I believe there's a couple others that I might have read, and I just usually don't like these kinds of books, so I'm a bit hesitant. But our next book was to do the Seven of Cups, which was to blindly pick books. However, what I think I'm going to do with this one is, because I have more books in this stack, that I'm just going to choose at the end if I haven't yet finished all of them, because there is more than enough books already that I picked out, because I have multiples for some prompts. So the next one was Judgment, and this one was to pick up a currently reading book or a DNF again. And I have two books that I think would fit for this prompt. One, I sort of like soft DNF'd it, but it's close enough to now that I don't think I would need to restart it. And then another one that I would have to restart to continue on with it. And the one that I would have to restart is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I just talked about Elizabeth Lim because I'm excited for her other book, Forgery of Fate, which is a continuation of a series that I did like. And I got about halfway through this and then kind of put it down because I wasn't enjoying the romance that was developing between two of the characters. I just wasn't a fan of the main male character at all and just did not want to read it anymore. The second option is The Night is Defying by Chloe C. Peñaranda. I picked this one up in April and I read most of it. Like, I think I have only like 100 to 150 pages left, but I was just not vibing with it. I've already been in a reading slump, so I was just like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm really tired and have not been enjoying the books. And then this one is a series that continues off of a book that I did like, so I was doubly disappointed with it. I could potentially just continue this one instead of... Ideally, I'd actually like to finish both of them because both of these are in series that I have liked in the past. So the next one was the Magician card, which was to read a book with magical elements, which if you've been listening to me so far, you know that I love fantasy books. Every single book so far that I've talked about has been a fantasy book. This is technically a free pick, and with that free pick, I'm going to choose Heir of Storms by Lauren Hamilton Murray. This is the YA June Fairy Loot book, and I just unboxed it, and I love this design. I think it's so stunning, and it's just giving me like whimsical summer energy. Love this design. I think it's one of my favorite designs that Fairy Loot has done, so I'm excited to get to this one. The next one was the 2 Points, and this one was to feature characters making big decisions. The first one I have is similar to When Dark Window, another book with a tarot-based magic system. That is The Empress by Kristen Cass, and this one is set in a world inspired by tarot cards where there are different kingdoms that are based on the different tarot suits, and we're following a main character that is basically transported into this world and slowly has to sort of figure out what's going on and potentially get married to one of the kings to ensure her safety. So I think there's a big decision there being made about her having to marry someone, and also potentially a decision being made about whether or not she wants to try and escape this world to get back to her real world or to stay in this new world as well. The other one that I had is a book called Lobizona, and this one is written by Romina Garber, who is actually an author that I have read from before. However, she was writing under the name of Romina Russell, and that series is called Zodiac. This is inspired by the astrological zodiac signs, and this one, we're following a main character who is an undocumented immigrant and also is a Lobizona, which is an Argentinian like werewolf almost. So I think there's going to be a lot of decisions made by this character in terms of trying to figure out her identity, and I also think the discussions that are being raised in this book about undocumented immigrants are really relevant to our present day political climate, and I think also represent the story that the Two of Coins card represents. The next one was the World card, and this was to read one that was all over online. So I have two for this one. One is one that I have not yet received because it's a release for this month, but one of the ones is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This is a romantasy book. It's another like Entangled Red Tower book, so special edition, but everyone has been talking about this book online, so I'm excited to get to this one. It also has some gorgeous illustrations. Another popular one that I've been hearing a lot about is Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. I have read Elise Kova's books before. I really like her Married to Magic series, and I haven't been as much of a fan of the Air Awakened series, but I'm still really excited for Arcana Academy. Arcana Academy is also, as you can probably tell from the title, inspired by tarot magic, so I feel like that really fits in the theme of this readathon as it's based on tarot. Then our last prompt was the Queen of Swords, and the prompt was Queendoms or Matriarchy. And I have the perfect book for this because I started it last month and didn't finish it, and it's The Priory of the Orange Tree because I have started it. I've only gotten about 100 pages in, so not very far, but I am so far enjoying it and would like to continue with it. Thank you once again for watching this video and listening to what books I would like to read in July. Once again, if you are interested in learning more about this readathon, please check out both Daijah and Noelle channels and their videos. I would love to hear if you have read any of these books, what you think of them, and also if you are planning on participating in this challenge as well. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye!